I stood in my father's study, clutching the leather chair until my knuckles grew white, regarding the trust sum I had anticipated. My brother Jeremy reclined against the wall, having abandoned his aspirations for law school. Mahogany desk, a smirk gracing the corners of his mouth. Blair, sweetheart, B. My mother stated it was logical, her neatly groomed hands clasped before her. The family firm requires the funds your brother possesses, as he has excellent expansion ideas. I am Blair Harper, and I am 22 years old. I discerned my position within my family's hierarchy, pledging ideas I was unable to fulfill. Suppress the venom in my tone, akin to the nightclub venture that incurred a loss of $500,000 within 6 months, which served as a valuable lesson. Jeremy's experience was adjusting his fancy tie, which his parents understood. The significance of risk-taking in business. Our father lifted his hand, stopping us both. Blair, we have deliberated. This law school serves as an intriguing pastime, yet, it is not a pragmatic job option. For an individual of your stature, the funds would be more effectively allocated to help your brother's entrepreneurial pursuits in the hobby of felt crafting. Like acid on my tongue, I finished summa cum laude and have already received acceptance too. That is rather impressive. However, dear mother interjected, when was the last occasion you encountered a woman from our circle? Practicing law is inappropriate, I observed the mother with her. Worried, the father furrowed his brow as he concentrated on his laptop screen, as Jeremy donned it. An unbearable grin. The identical scenario had occurred innumerable times during my childhood. Jeremy's subpar grade cards. Received acclaim, whilst my academic accomplishments were greeted with courteous indifference, alongside his unsuccessful entrepreneurial endeavors. They ignored my learning experiences and dismissed my objectives as mere fantasy, originating from a trust fund. Grandmother, I stated, struggling to maintain my composure, she explicitly bequeathed it. As trustees, we possess the authority to ascertain the optimal utilization of my education, father. I responded without raising my gaze. The decision is irrevocable. I retrieved my luggage from the floor. My hands are trembling. You know what, retain the money. I will resolve this independently. Do not be concerned. Blair's mother dramatically sighed, questioning why she does not assist Jeremy with the promotion of his new restaurant concept, as she has always done. I paused at the door, as you possess an exceptional eye for design, something you evidently lack. This situation transcends monetary concerns. It pertains to your persistent disbelief in me. Jeremy chuckled, urging, come on. Sister, please do not transform this into one of your dramatic episodes. I turned around as if you were. The incident when you damaged father's Porsche and attributed the fault to the valet, or when you appropriated mother's jewelry for your. Blair, your girlfriend asserted that it was stolen, and that is sufficient. Your father's voice resonated throughout the study. If you are agitated and unable to think straight, please go home, compose yourself, and we will address this matter later. There is nothing further to talk about at this moment. Forcefully opened the hefty door. I am finished seeking your favor and observing you bestow everything upon Jeremy. While I vie for minimal recognition, I am attending law school and will achieve success independently of your financial support. Your support initiated by Blair's mother was acknowledged, although I was already departing in my heels. Clicked against the marble floors of our family estate, knowing it would be the final occasion, tears stung behind my. I averted my gaze, determined not to let my tears fall, especially not in a place where people could observe my phone. Excited, I approached my car and received a text from Lauren, my best friend since college. How did it go? Do you wish to meet for coffee? I responded promptly since they earned my trust. Fund the meeting with Jeremy on the 20th at our customary location. The reaction was prompt. I am getting the largest chocolate muffin available. While starting my car, I grabbed a brief glance. While observing the study window, Jeremy stood there, regarding me with a persistent smug grin. I maintained his gaze for a momentarily departed from the mansion that had never quite felt like home. They believed that withholding the trust monies would. They coerced me into abandoning law school to conform to their expectations, believing that I would capitulate. Accept the comfortable, constrained existence they had envisioned for me. They were mistaken. Unbeknownst to me at the time, that day was the inception of something more significant than my aspiration to become a lawyer. It was the day She ceased to be the obedient daughter seeking their approval and began to evolve into an individual they would eventually require. To contend with, let them ridicule, permit them to disregard me, and let them believe they have triumphed. I I held the steering wheel tighter, my will solidifying with each mile separating me from that stifling mansion they had. I was unaware of my potential, but they would soon discover it. Lauren arched her eyes as I donned my waitressing costume in the restaurant's confined break area. "Blair, you will exhaust yourself before lessons commence. You cannot afford to do so," I remarked while fastening my apron. "Education will not finance itself. 6 months have elapsed since I departed from my family's estate. Months were spent working 2 jobs, subsisting on coffee, and sleeping on Lauren's pull-out couch. Every penny I earned was allocated directly into my law school budget. At the very least, allow me to pay for meals today." Lauren insisted that you appear to be undernourished. A proper lunch in days prior, I may contend that Marcus, the head waiter, interjected at Blair's table 12, indicating their demands. "Orders have been received, and a distinguished attorney is inquiring about your presence at the bar." I became immobilized. A lawyer named Justin, a regular customer, consistently provides generous tips. Justin Gardner was a partner at one of the city's premier legal firms and a regular patron during my tenure. During evening shifts, he expressed interest in my aspirations for law school, frequently recounting anecdotes about his cases. Lauren prompted me regarding the courses. "I will manage 12. I located Justin in his customary location. While nursing a scotch, he glanced up from a pile of documents and smiled. "Blair, I was hoping you would be working tonight. What can I do for you?" "I understand, Mr. Gardner." Justin corrected me, "and I truly have something for you." He handed an envelope across the bar. It included an opportunity, should you be interested, along with an offer letter. I shivered as I saw the notification for a paid internship at his firm. He elucidated that part-time work offers flexible hours and superior compensation compared to waiting tables. It will enhance your law school applications. I do not comprehend why it pertains to me. Because you evoke memories of my younger self, determined, industrious, and resilient in the face of adversity. He took a sip of scotch. "Lauren informed me about your familial circumstances. She acted as I anticipated. I discovered my best buddy unexpectedly engrossed in organizing wine glasses. Please do not be upset with her, Justin." She stated that she was attempting to assist, observing that Blair has been managing 2 jobs. "Such dedication is uncommon while preparing for law school, and my firm may benefit from it. I appreciate the offer, but I cannot accept charity. Rest assured, we will exert sufficient effort to ensure you earn every cent. It is not a handout, it is an investment in talent." Before I could react, my phone buzzed, and Jeremy's name appeared on the screen. I declined the call from Family Justin, who occasionally requests a call. They are inebriated or want assistance. I have concealed the phone and ceased responding months ago, as you are aware. Success is the ultimate kind of retribution. Justin stood upright, adjusting his tie, contemplating the offer. "The position commences next month." After he departed, Lauren confronted me. "Did you accept it?" "I have yet to make a decision." I presented her with the offer letter, which exceeds the total compensation of both my existing positions. "What is preventing you from accepting it? What if I am inadequate? What if I cease?" Lauren grasped my shoulders and stated, "You are the most intelligent individual I know. You gained admission to law school. You have successfully navigated 6 months of school without utilizing any family funds, demonstrating commendable self-sufficiency." My phone buzzed again. This time, it was a text from Jeremy. "My mother is crying once more. Due to your refusal to attend Sunday dinner, cease your selfish behavior." Lauren read the note aloud to me. He scoffed and remarked selfishly, "It is ironic coming from him." I deleted the message. Without answering, "You are correct. I am proceeding with the..." "Yes, I secured an internship." Lauren embraced me warmly. "This warrants a celebratory gathering with beverages afterward. Your shift is incompatible with my LSTAT preparation class at 7 a.m. tomorrow. Without exceptions," she indicated the offer letter. "This is your pivotal moment, Blair. Everything transforms from here." Upon reviewing the letter once more, I experienced an emotion I had not felt in months. I hope Lauren was correct. Perhaps that night was my turning moment. Upon serving my final meal, I envisioned Jeremy's expression upon discovering my actions. Attending law school without financial support from my family, I envisioned my parents' responses upon recognizing their impracticality. The daughter had triumphed despite their skepticism. My phone vibrated one more time. "Mother dear, please be reasonable. Return home so we may explore alternatives to law school. I have banned the phone without hesitation. There will be no further communication. No further discussions, no more alternatives, no more seeking approval. I have charted my own course now. Initially, I was convinced it was the correct choice. Tomorrow, I would accept Justin's proposal. Another step toward disproving them all. Tomorrow, the genuine work will commence. The day I passed the bar exam, Justin summoned me to his office after 3 years of law school and innumerable sleepless nights. Endless cups of coffee had culminated in this moment. "Close the door, Blair," he indicated toward the chair opposite him. My heart raced when I learned that I had worked as a law clerk at his firm. The partners convened this morning, expressing their aspirations to obtain an associate position upon graduation. After perusing several documents, they have reached a conclusion regarding the new associates, and he raised his gaze. His gaze was stern until a smile illuminated his face. "Welcome to the firm, counselor." I sank into the chair. Relief enveloped me. Truly exceptional recommendations from the highest echelon. After 3 years of practical experience with us, the decision was straightforward. He transitioned seamlessly. A contract is presented on the desk. Your initial wage is clearly stated. Take it home for evaluation. Please inform me if you have any inquiries. My hands trembled as I gazed at them. The amount was greater than any sum I had previously encountered. Thank you, Justin, for all your assistance. Blair didn't get this easily, he earned it. Suddenly, my phone illuminated with a notification. News alert: Harper Industries confronts a financial crisis. CEO under scrutiny. During the investigation, Justin observed a shift in my expression, prompting him to inquire whether everything was all right. I presented him with the article regarding my brother's company, which is also my family's enterprise. He leaned forward and read swiftly. Allegations of securities fraud and mishandling of cash are serious. Blair Jeremy has consistently engaged in reckless behavior. Indulgent in regulations, I could not suppress a sense of gratification over such intriguing concepts. I have finally connected with him. Your family subsequently requires a competent attorney, but they are not my concern. I no longer have a problem. I rose up and tucked the contract into my purse. I have not communicated with. 3 years ago, while at my desk, Lauren's name appeared on my phone. She had initiated contact. Last year, I was employed at a competing firm, although we continued to convene for weekly coffee meetings. "Did you see the news?" she inquired without any introduction. "Regarding Harper Industries, your brother has truly outdone himself this time. The SEC is involved, and I am aware of SED Lauren. I understand that this is not your responsibility. However, Blair, this exemplifies karma at its peak. They entrusted him with your trust fund for investment in the firm, and he has now mismanaged it." Before I could react, my assistant, M. Blair, knocked on my door. "Mr. Jeremy Harper is here to see you." My blood turned cold at what he said. "I can see your brother through the glass walls of my office. Should I send him away?" Standing in the reception area, he was entirely unlike the arrogant brother I recalled. His fancy suit was unremarkable. Blair Lauren, with untidy hair and wrinkled attire, remained on the phone, inquiring, "What will you do?" "I will call," was the response. I hung up and signaled to my assistant to send him in. Jeremy entered. Like a mere semblance of his old self. "Hello, sister, what do you desire?" "Jeremy, can't a brother?" He visited his accomplished sister. He attempted to smile, but it manifested more as a grimace. I saw the news. Collapsed into a chair. "It is severe, Blair, truly severe. Father's experiencing cardiac issues. Due to maternal stress, my mother is disorganized, and the SEC is exerting pressure on me. It bothers me that we require your assistance and legal skills. The family lawyers are insufficient. Corporate specialists are ill-equipped for this type of situation. I find it amusing, albeit harsh, even for myself. You must be exceedingly desperate to approach me, given how we have treated you." His voice cracked painfully. "I acknowledge that we did not support your aspirations, but please. Blair, the corporation will collapse without assistance. It is the enterprise you have driven to ruin." He recoiled at the mention of my trust fund. I merit that reaction, although this matter extends beyond mere finances. It pertains to my father's legacy and the employees who rely on us. I took a stand. Walking to the window, the city sprawled beneath me, reminding me of the distance I had traveled from the furious girl in my father's presence. "Study, please," Blair murmured to Jeremy. Name your price. I turned to confront him. Years of pain and resentment solidifying into something more rigid and frigid. My cost, indeed. Brother, you are unaware of the expenses this will incur. He gazed upward, filled with hope. Fear is evident in his eyes. Does it imply you will assist? I will contemplate it. I approached my door, holding it ajar, and informed my parents that I would maintain communication. After he departed, I contacted Justin's extension, recalling your previous remarks regarding. They require competent legal representation. You were correct, and I believe it is time for a family. The family estate appeared unchanged, including the ostentatious lion. Statues flanking the entryway. However, I was not present during this disappointing occasion. My daughter, I was present as their final hope. Lauren had assisted me in my preparation for this. At that point, she stated, "You possess all the power. Do not allow them to manipulate you." I adjusted my fine suit, purchased with my own funds, and made the call. The doorbell rang, and our former housekeeper Maria answered. Miss Blair's eyes illuminated with delight. "It is a pleasure to see you as well, Maria." I embraced her briefly. "Are they in the study?" "Indeed, all await your father, who is unwell, Miss Blair." I acknowledged this with a nod, maintaining my composure. With a neutral expression, I traversed the familiar route to my father's study. 3 years prior, I had departed this house in tears. Today, I entered with my head held high. They were positioned precisely as I had anticipated. Father sat behind his desk, appearing more feeble than I recalled, while Mother anxiously occupied the leather sofa, and Jeremy was present. Blair's mother rose, stood by the window with arms outstretched, exclaiming, "Darling, you look." I bypassed the reunion formalities and placed my briefcase on the desk. "I have examined the SEC charges. And your company's financial statistics indicate that you are in more severe difficulties than the news implies." Father's expression grew tense. "Are you cognizant of the situation?" I retrieved a collection of documents because, according to these papers, Jeremy not only mismanaged assets but also perpetrated significant securities fraud. The mother gasped at the prospect of potential prison time, exclaiming, "Surely, you can rectify this, Blair." "I am a lawyer, but not just any lawyer. I am among the elite in the field. Associates at Gardner and Associates specialize in securities law and corporate matters." I let that resonate. The same firm has managed some of the most significant financial fraud cases in the state. Jeremy ceased his pacing. "So your assistance is contingent upon that." I occupied the chair opposite. "What precisely are you requesting from Father?" "We require you to defend Jeremy, Father." He stated, his voice weaker than I recalled, "to manage the SEC inquiry, reorganize the corporation, and preserve your empire." I concluded. For him, that is a considerable challenge, given that you previously doubted my ability to complete law school. Mother recoiled. "Blair, please, that was 3 years ago." I addressed her gaze. "It has been years since you allocated my college fund to Jeremy. How much of that money remains?" "By the way," Jeremy averted his gaze from Blair. "None of it is correct. You squandered everything on your ambitious concepts." I opened my laptop, however. "Here is my proposition. I will accept your case, but I have stipulations." The father leaned forward. "Identify them. I desire complete authority over the legal strategy without any hindrance. Your other attorneys concur that my firm's usual costs are non-negotiable, and I have also paused. I desire 51% of the company's remaining shares unequivocally." "Not far." He struck his hand on the desk and then grimaced in agony. "Logan, your heart." The mother hurried to his side, stating, "It is not a request, it is a necessity," I persisted. "The organization needs fresh leadership, namely an individual who comprehends both business dynamics and law, someone capable of rehabilitating its reputation." "You cannot be serious, Jeremy. If you desire to assume control of the company, consider it a matter of karma, my beloved brother. You own my trust fund, and I receive your." I established the terms. Accept them or seek another attorney. Willing to jeopardize their name on this matter, you find pleasure in this, do you not, Jeremy? Accused of seeing our distress, is it correct? More than you relished witnessing my struggle, I collected my belongings. You have 24 hours to make a decision. Thereafter, I will proceed. As I approached the door, my father cried out, questioning my belief in the possibility of saving the company. I turned back. Unlike Jeremy, I genuinely earned my success. I constructed my profession from the ground up while he squandered my resources. Financial resources are available, hence, I can preserve the company, but solely under my conditions. We require time to proceed. The mother quietly stated, discuss this. I reiterated, and advised Jeremy to exercise caution. Formulating any travel arrangements may prompt inquiries from the SEC on those offshore accounts you presumed were undisclosed. Observe his face blanch. How did you achieve this? I excel in my profession, a skill you may lack. Factors to contemplate while making your decision include the palpable weight of their despair lingering in the atmosphere. I proceeded to my car while hearing my mother plead after me, Blair, please, can we discuss this? I continued going. I had 3 years to listen. Now it was my opportunity to speak, and they would be compelled to listen. Would forfeit all that remained to them. 23 hours and 45 minutes subsequently The office phone rang. We accept your terms, my father stated, his voice strained. However, we have our own stipulations. This is not a negotiation. Listen to me. We request that you instruct Jeremy in the business facets to aid his comprehension of his position. It appears there was an error. I reclined in my chair, indicating that you still lack confidence in my ability to manage affairs. Alone, that is not what I meant. I will meet in my office for 1 hour. I will terminate the conversation. Shareholders' agreement and Jeremy's resignation letter. Justin knocked on my door as I concluded the call. They fell for the ruse. As you anticipated, I smiled, prepared to engage in serious competition. I had been awaiting this moment for 3. He checked his watch, allowing Leighton to examine the strategy before their arrival in 1 hour. Subsequently, my family entered the conference room, and Jeremy appeared as though he had not rested, having used mother's cosmetics. She could not conceal her red eyes, and her father appeared aged. Before we commenced, I stated my desire to clarify that this is not a family gathering. It is a commercial transaction, Blair, please, mother began Mrs. Harper. Justin interjected seamlessly, stating, as your daughter's senior partner, I advise you. I presented the contracts across the table, treating this as a professional meeting with clearly defined boundaries. Upon Jeremy's resignation as CEO, 51% ownership will be transferred to me immediately. Retains a non-executive position on the board while I assume complete management of operations and legal matters. Jeremy inquired about the plan and the SEC inquiry. I informed him that I have previously communicated with them and have withdrawn another matter. The paper indicates a willingness to settle. Nevertheless, it will not be inexpensive. The corporation will be required to pay significant fines. To completely comply with their research, the father reviewed the documents. These terms are exceedingly advantageous. I am not attempting to assist Jeremy in evading repercussions, I stated unequivocally. I am attempting to salvage the company. There is a significant distinction. Do you truly despise us to that extent, Jeremy? Your voice faltered. This matter transcends personal feelings. I despise that I encountered his gaze. This pertains to competency, and you nearly caused a catastrophe. Centenarian enterprise due to your belief that regulations were inapplicable to you, as your parents failed to impart this knowledge. Regarding the repercussions, it is sufficient. Father stood up, swaying slightly, and said, You have made it. I have aligned my position with his stance because of your point from 3 years ago. You informed me that law school was an intriguing pastime and that you entrusted my future to Jeremy, believing he merited it more. What was the outcome? Mother began to weep while Justin cleared his throat. We should concentrate on the proposed agreements, as the SEC's offer expires at the close of business today. Jeremy seized the pen first, signing his resignation letter with trembling hands. Father's signature was considerably weaker than I recalled from Mother. Darling, are you certain this is your desire? Are you prepared to accept everything from your brother? I am not taking anything. Said that she is acquiring something that this family never instructed her on how to do. Congratulations, Justin, on securing the majority as you gather the documents. The shareholder, buyer and CEO of Harper Industries fell in his chair. What occurs now is that I will open my laptop and commence rectifying Jeremy's errors. Initiating with a comprehensive audit of all accounts, followed by a reorganization of the board and the implementation of a new compliance program, including my involvement. Jeremy inquired softly whether you would work under my direct supervision to get knowledge on how to effectively operate a business rather than only engaging in superficial activities. I observed our parents, and you both will withdraw entirely, no exceptions. There will be no interference, no complaints, and no attempts to undermine my authority. You're truly going to challenge us. From our own firm, the father's voice was scarcely audible. No, I will save your company, regardless of your preferences. Regardless of the measures employed, I will rise. My aide will escort you out as I have tasks to attend to. They departed, and mother turned back. Will you at least attend Sunday dinner? I have prior commitments. I remained focused on my laptop while those who believed in me departed, leaving you behind as the door closed. Justin grasped my shoulder. Are you all right? Better than all right, I eventually replied as I looked up. Astonished to see my eyes were devoid of moisture, I anticipated this to evoke a sense of vengeance. Instead, it merely feels like justice and their alignment occasionally coincide. He smiled, prepared to demonstrate what you had. I nodded and began retrieving the company's financial data. Desired a businesswoman rather than a lawyer. Now they have both, and I am merely commencing. Through the glass. I observed my family depart, their shoulders hunched, ultimately bearing the burden of their own responsibilities. For the first time in my life, I experienced a genuine sense of empowerment, not due to external factors. Appropriated anything from them, although due to my remarkable demonstration of their error, the board. The meeting is in 10 minutes, my assistant remarked, peering into my office. Your brother is already present. Exhibits anxiety 1 month into my leadership, with observable adjustments when market prices have steadied. Employees exhibited more confidence, and the SEC settlement was advancing without complications. However, not everyone was pleased with it. I collected my documents and proceeded to the. In the boardroom, Jeremy sat crouched over his laptop, heavy lines under his eyes. Spent the previous month collaborating with me to understand the realities of business management. I placed my coffee down, prepared for your presentation. He glanced up, startled. You are indeed going to compel me to acknowledge your errors before the board. Yes, I appointed largely new individuals to the board members. A few elderly guards remained. Father persisted on attending despite his declining health. I sat in a chair at the far end as mother had ultimately ceased her attempts to attend meetings. Let's get started, I said, taking my seat. Jeremy, please take your position at the head of the table and guide us through the audit findings, as he stood unsteadily clicking. Through his presentations, each one delineated another error, another poor decision, and another instance of his mishandling. In the third slide, he was perspiring, and his voice faltered, reflecting the shortcomings of the previous leadership. Numerous significant errors occurred in the prior leadership, which I interrupted you to address. Jeremy, I acknowledge that I created these. I incurred substantial financial losses for the company due to imprudent investments and encountered significant issues with dishonest reporting. The father squirmed uneasily in his seat as one of the new board members raised her hand to inquire about the measures being implemented. Prevent this from recurring, Blair. M. Harper has instituted new measures. Jeremy stated that all significant decisions now necessitate board approval, and we have instituted a. The Compliance Committee, in reference to compliance, prompted me to stand and report that the SEC has consented to mitigate the sanctions in return for our complete collaboration and the enforcement of rigorous internal measures. He faces accusations that will result in fines and a prohibition from serving as an officer in any capacity. I have been with a public corporation for 5 years. I made eye contact with Jeremy, but I did not serve any prison time. Assuming he maintains his cooperation, thank you. Jeremy murmured. Do not thank me, I said curtly. I did not. I undertook this for you, as well as for the thousands of people reliant on this corporation for their livelihoods. The conference progressed with quarterly forecasts and restructuring strategies until it concluded, and subsequently, the father approached. I observed Blair as he entered my office, leaning heavily on his cane. He fell into a chair and said, You have performed admirably, surpassing my expectations. When given an opportunity, things unfold in an amusing way. I am worthy of that. He caressed his breast. Observing you today made me think of my father, who built this. Construct a corporation from the ground up, akin to how you established your career. Do not hesitate or attempt to refrain. Transform this into a poignant familial moment. I am attempting to apologize, Blair. No, you are merely seeking to alleviate your guilt. You see success at my desk and want credit, but you can't. Do not feign that you have supported me throughout, Blair. Please, he grasped his chest abruptly, his face twisting in pain. Father, I. He hurried forward as he sank in the chair. Someone call an ambulance. Justin stood at the doorway. What happened? His heart received medication from his coat pocket. Everything thereafter transpired in a blur. Paramedics, sirens, the dash to. The mother came to the hospital in tears, as Jeremy paced the waiting room for hours. After a little interval, the doctor emerged, announcing that he is stable, although he needs more attention. Avoid tension, there is no work or commercial matters. My mother grasped my arm and said, Blair, please come home, assist us in this matter. I delicately withdrew her hand. I will manage the company. I will ensure everything operates efficiently, but I will not return home. He could have perished today, and that would have been. It is tragic, I remarked softly. However, it cannot alter the history or our identities. I departed, my heels clicking on the hospital floor, leaving them with their sorrow and remorse in my office. I discovered Justin awaiting your father. He will survive. I collapsed into my chair, questioning why. He stated that this no longer feels like a victory, as revenge is intricate. Family dynamics are increasingly complex. I gazed at the city lights, contemplating the cost of success. Was commensurate with the burden it bore. However, I was unequivocally aware that there was no return. The quarterly figures are impressive, Lauren remarked when reviewing the report over coffee. It had been 3 months. Since father's heart attack, you have transformed the company more rapidly than anticipated, and the press appears to. I concur. I presented her with the latest business magazine showcasing my photograph on the cover. The prodigal daughter, how Blair Harper preserved her family's legacy. Have you presented this to your audience? The parents have observed that the mother persistently attempts to organize celebratory dinners, which I will not attend. Lauren placed her cup down. How is Jeremy doing everything? I hesitated, but he is improving. He exceeds expectations, arrives early, remains late, and genuinely learns from his mistakes. It is as if he is maturing into a genuine grown-up. In reference to Jeremy, Lauren gestured toward the cafe. At the door, my brother stood there appearing more composed than he has in months. May I join you? I inquired, gesturing towards an unoccupied seat. He sat in the chair, fumbling with his tie. Lauren, he nodded. Do you mind if I speak to my... As my sister was alone, I decided to return to the office. Lauren gently squeezed my shoulder. She departed. Contact me later.
Jerry waited till här departure.
I have been reviewing the expansion suggestions you requested. This matter does not pertain to work, Jeremy. What is your inquiry? My father's birthday is next week. He gazed at his hands, the first one. Following his heart attack, my mother is organizing a modest family-only dinner, which I have already communicated. I am not attending. I understand that is not my purpose here. He produced an envelope. I discovered this while organizing my former workplace. It is from 3 years ago and has a letter dated that day. Upon being refused access to my trust fund, my hands trembled as I read the letter addressed to Mr. Gardner. I am writing to endorse my sister Blair for any entry-level opportunities at your organization. She is exceptionally intelligent and resolute. Deserves an opportunity that our family is not providing her. I recognize that I am the least qualified one to request favors. Given my treatment of her, I kindly request that you meet with her. Sincerely, Jeremy Harper. I have researched you. I corresponded with Justin and contacted every major law firm in the city. As I ran my fingers through his hair, I recognized the immorality of our actions. I lacked the courage to confront our parents. Nevertheless, I contemplated. I might be able to assist discreetly. Justin never disclosed this because I referred to him as the. The following day, I requested that he refrain from making any offer based simply on your merit. He smiled wistfully, and I understood. I would not desire my assistance anyhow. I gazed at the letter, emotions warring within me, questioning why. Are you presenting this to me now because I am fatigued by secrets and weary of feigning his existence? I leaned forward. You were correct about everything, Blair. I did not merit the trust fund, nor did I deserve to manage it. Observing your management of several responsibilities inside the organization over the past few months, I take pride in being your brother, Jeremy. Allow me to conclude, you do not. You must attend Dad's birthday. Forgiveness is not required, but it is essential for you to understand that not everyone in this family is present. I questioned you. I was simply too feeble to express it. My phone vibrated with a message from Justin. Recall the meeting you have been evading with the Asian investors. They are currently in the lobby. I must depart now. As I approached the door, clutching the letter, Blair Jeremy yelled out. You are a superior CEO compared to my potential performance. I was unable to concentrate during the investor meeting at the office. Justin observed everything was satisfactory. I presented him with the letter, and he perused it. I am not surprised that you were aware of this. I recognize that Jeremy lacked the confidence in his abilities that your parents believed he possessed. Returned the letter. Individuals are not always as they appear, Blair. That evening, I sat in my office, gazing at my phone, and ultimately wrote Mom. What time is Dad's birthday dinner? Her response was prompt, 7 p.m. next. Please come on Thursday. I have been contemplating Jeremy's situation with father's heart attack. A mother's lament of vengeance, redemption, and the burden of familial bonds. I will attend, I responded, but on my conditions, without pressure, guilt, or pretense. The past is irrelevant. We simply wish to see you, my dear. I gazed upon the city. The skyline evokes memories of the irate teenager who exited her father's study 3 years prior. She sought retribution. She sought to demonstrate her worth and make them regret their actions. Perhaps now it was accomplished. It is time to demonstrate that prosperity need not equate to solitude and that strength may encompass forgiveness. That familial bonds can flex without fracturing entirely, but initially, I had a corporation too. I stood outside my parents' house, clutching a bottle of father's preferred scotch, with the same lion sculptures still present. They guarded the door, however, they no longer appeared as scary. Lauren's voice reverberated in my mind from our earlier conversation. Call to mind that you are no longer the powerless girl. You are entering as their equal. The door opened before I could. Upon ringing the bell, Mother stood there attempting to conceal her anxiety beneath a grin. Blair, darling, you came, she exclaimed. Presented her with the scotch. Happy birthday, Dad. The study had transformed, reflecting the father's formidable presence. The desk was removed and substituted with comfy seating arranged in a circular formation. Jeremy was. Blair is already present, assisting his father in adjusting his posture on a luxurious armchair. My father's voice was gentler than I recalled. Thank you for attending. I seated myself, observing the room's authority. Dynamics have transformed. There is no longer concealment behind desks or tactical posture. Only family members are confronting one another prior to supper. The mother stated that the father possesses. He extracted an envelope, his hands quivering slightly. I have been contemplating extensively since the heart attack over legacy, family, and errors. Father, you need not, but I must. He opened the envelope. It contained a letter I composed to my father upon assuming control of the company, which I recently discovered. I acknowledged my father as he read, I understand you believe I am too young. Although I lack experience to manage the organization, I will demonstrate my capabilities and prove you mistaken. He looked at me, emphasizing that commitment and vision, not age or tradition, define success. Does that sound familiar? Why are you presenting this to me? I have become precisely what I opposed. I have become my father, imposing my will on my children. He placed the letter down, acknowledging his error with Blair, as he had confined individuals to roles that were incompatible with their full ability. As Jeremy stood up, he announced that he had something for you and retrieved a wooden object. The box from the cupboard contained a familiar document, my initial trust money. We cannot reverse our actions, Mother stated, but we can endeavor to rectify the situation. I have restored the fund with interest. I no longer require it, I stated softly. Father grinned, affirming that you do deserve it, having demonstrated your worth. This matter surpasses our wildest expectations. It transcends financial considerations. As I paced the room, it was never about money. Jeremy concurred that it was about something else. He addressed me regarding matters of respect, acknowledgement, and belief. I have provided you with the company's most recent board meeting minutes, displaying them on my phone. Observe any changes. The father moved forward, adjusting his glasses, and his eyes expanded. You are endorsing Jeremy for the position of CFO. He has merited this opportunity. My brother was astonished upon hearing this. Reflect on 6 months of diligent effort, learning from errors, and demonstrating competence. Does this resonate? Blair, I am struggling to articulate my thoughts. Please affirm that you will persist in validating my perspective. Assist me in creating something superior to its predecessor. Mother dried her tears. Your grandmother would be immensely proud. Both of you, I grinned. I have one further announcement on the scholarship. I am establishing a foundation in her name to support women obtaining law degrees, funded by the trust money from my father. Gradually regaining his composure, he remarked, "You are a superior individual compared to my former self." "No," I responded, shaking my head. "I am sufficiently courageous to carve my own way. Having succeeded, I am now courageous enough to forgive." Maria called from the kitchen, saying that dinner was ready. As we approached the dining area, Jeremy grasped my arm and inquired whether this implied that I would cease requesting him to procure my coffee. "There is no possibility." I smiled and regarded it as continuous atonement at the table, Father. He lifted his glass to Blair, who exemplified true achievement for all of us. My family, which I unexpectedly included, sometimes needs time apart to foster growth. The more resilient mother grasped my hand beneath the table. This time, I permitted her to do so. Later that night, as I drove home, Lauren called to inquire how it went. It was better than expected. I anticipated a smile, however. It appears that revenge is not as gratifying as redemption. Does this imply your conclusion? Inflicting suffering, yet I shall still require their effort. Nonetheless, there exists a possibility that we may construct something together. From the remnants of what we incinerated, I arrived at my driveway, observing. The irate girl who had escaped this home was absent, supplanted by the stars. Somebody who is more robust, sagacious, and whole, possessing an understanding of the essence of genuine power. It's not about erasing the pain you've experienced, but about fostering something better to fill its void. The company was prospering, the family was mending, and I was ultimately authentic. Liberated not due to victory but because I had transcended the desire to win entirely.